Hello everybody, my name is Alex, and since the CTR Grand Prix have now drawn to a close officially, the Gas Moxie Grand Prix is over, I thought it would be cool to look back at some of my favourite bits, and I know there's more content coming for this game, but the Grand Prix as we know them are now done. So today we're going to start this off with going through my top 5 characters from the Grand Prix. I'll start with mine as well, obviously I'll go through mine, but what would be really cool is if after this video, you could go down in the comments and let me know yours and we could compare. Some of you will like my suggestions and what I personally enjoyed, and some of you will just think, no, completely wrong, you've got it all wrong Alex, it should have been this 5. So it'd be really nice to see what you think as well. As with all videos like this, my top 5 are completely personal. It's just based off basically things I just liked for whatever reason, and also my experience of this game and games in the past. So as you'll see, there are a few on this list which you can definitely trace back to previous games and the games I sort of grew up with. So yeah, as I said, I suspect my top 5 will be very different to yours. In at number 5, it's Koala Kong, who first came to us in the Neon Circus Grand Prix. So as a relatively new player to the original Crash games, like I've said it before, I'm pretty open, I'm quite new to this community, I'm relatively new to a lot of these games. I didn't have any nostalgic connection with Koala Kong, which perhaps makes his inclusion on this list at first glance seem quite unlikely because I didn't really have a connection with him before. But his arrival was just a really nice moment for me, because his inclusion marked the point really of the last major original character to be added, and that feeling around was really infectious. You know, people were really buzzing about this, I was quite happy to see it, and it just demonstrated just how good the roster had become, and obviously still is. It's gone from strength to strength since then as well. I also seem to find myself racing with Koala Kong a fair bit as well. I like his character design, I think he's pretty cool, so for them reasons, he managed to make the top 5. Number 4 on this list is Nina Cortex, who was introduced in the Spooky Grand Prix. Obviously, the Spooky Grand Prix fitted her perfectly. But my reason for introducing and having Nina on this list is that, so pretty much all of the characters in CTR add value to the roster. It's not like with Mario Kart 8, where the roster includes, you know, Baby Rosalina, the excessive number of Koopalings. I don't feel like they add much to that roster, it's just much of the same. But although CTR, you know, includes all of these great characters, the vast majority add in some real great content to the game. But Nina still stands out. She is one of those characters that add particular value. Her value in this game, it rises above so many of the other characters in my opinion because she's quite unique. Like, bottom line, she has a really distinctive personality. She's also got fantastic gothic character design which separates her from a lot of the other characters. And I think she would be invaluable to any Crash game roster in the future in my opinion. Like, I know it's not worth talking about right now, but in 5-10 years time, let's say we get a CTR2 with a bit of a condensed roster. You wouldn't expect a new game to have such a big roster as the current CTR has, sorry, as CTR Nitro-Fueled has. Say you add in like 12, I don't know, 15, 20 characters, so less. I think Nina is one of them that really should make it into such a roster because she holds so much value and is so unique that she really just stands out for me. Number 3 then is Dr. Nitrous Brio, who was introduced as well in the Spooky Grand Prix. That was a pretty cool Grand Prix, I think. So the top 3 on this list though, I found so difficult to choose between. At one stage Brio was first and then he was second, but I had to think long and hard and base my final judgment on my experiences and what characters I looked forward to and enjoyed the most. What gave me most happiness ultimately, because I guess this is what it's all about. So what makes Brio such a great addition though in my mind is that, just like Nina, he adds so much value to the roster. I love him, he's a really crazy scientist who clearly shouldn't have the access to the potions that he does. And reading through his history as well and finding out how this character's worked in different games, I found it fascinating how his loyalties get mixed up at times, you know. You never really know where he's going to appear and who he's going to be loyal to next. I think that's really interesting and really absorbs me into the character, makes me think what drives this character, who is he, and just thinking about a future Crash game, hopefully we get one this year which we keep talking about. You know, it'd be so cool to see him have a role in that, and honestly, I don't know what role that would be, so I find him really interesting. And obviously, he has fantastic character design in this game too, which is also important. But I guess the final thing I'd say on Brio is that this is a big factor, but sometimes you just take to a character. Sometimes you just look at a character and you think, I'm interested in this, I like this. And for me, Brio is just one of them characters. I just like him. I don't really know exactly why I like him in this way. You know, I said he's interesting, but I just took a liking from him straight off the bat. So that's why he's at number 3. Number 2 is Pasadena Opossum, who was also introduced in the Neon Circus Grand Prix. The Spooky Grand Prix and Neon Circus Grand Prix were two brilliant ones in my mind. But yeah, Pasadena Opossum is a character that was a major addition for me personally. When I think about what I really enjoyed most, Pasadena was up there. And I'll explain why now. So, as many of you can tell, that because my gameplay isn't exactly where I'd want it to be, one of the major reasons in that, one of the major factors of that, is that I never owned the original CTR. I never got to properly sit down and put hours and hours and hours into the original CTR. And that's not an excuse for why I'm not as good at the game as I'd perhaps like to be, but it's just one of the reasons. So instead of that, one of my first experience properly of a Crash kart racer was with Crash Tag Team Racing. And the character that my brain remembers most from that game, for whatever reason, but for me, the poster person of that game, apart from Crash Bandicoot, was Pasadena Opossum. So this meant that, whereas like a lot of you get nostalgia from head to toe, right? From top to bottom in the Insane Trilogy and in CTR because you played the original games back when you were younger. Pasadena coming to CTR was that big nostalgic experience for me, and I just loved that. I finally got a taste of the nostalgia in a game like this, and I really did enjoy it, and I embraced it. It was the same for Von Clutch, but Pasadena is just a bigger character for me, so that's why she's up in second on this list. Number 1 today then is Spyro the Dragon from the Spyro Grand Prix. Now, I know some of you will be thinking, Alex, this is a Crash game, why have you gone and put Spyro at number 1? And I completely get that, I'll be honest with you. Like, I know that some people will be thinking that. But I had to be honest with myself. I had a real long reflective period for this video where I wanted to make sure I got my top 5 right, because it's been a big game for me, so I wanted to get it right. And being honest with myself and being honest with the viewers, there's no doubt for me Spyro was the most exciting addition in the Grand Prix. And that's basically because Spyro is such a magical character for me. The original trilogy of games, I remember going to my friend's house, we sat down, he said, you gotta play these games, they get reignited. And obviously it was the original 3 Spyro games. And that's what brought me on this journey to the reignited trilogy, then onto the Insane trilogy and CTR. So bringing me to this group of games. So for Spyro to join this roster was a real magical experience for me. Obviously because, you know, that's a character I have a lot of love with and can share that enthusiasm with my friends. But it was just fantastic to see him in the game, and it was something that I absolutely loved. Now, the Grand Prix wasn't everything I would have wanted, but just the inclusion of Spyro and seeing Spyro race around the track, it was just a fantastic moment for me, so I just had to put him at number 1. And I'm sure some of you will agree. Some Spyro fans will be like, yeah, but I understand it's a bit controversial, but I just had to put him there. So those are my top 5 characters which were added in the Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled Grand Prix. It's been a brilliant journey. But what are your top 5? Like, tell me in the comments, let me know down in the comments, tell me what you agree with. Why am I right on some of these? Why am I wrong? Who did you love to see? I'd love to have them conversations with you down in the comments, and I will be sure to reply. If you have enjoyed as well and want to see more content like this, make sure you hit the like button, please. It really does help us out. And consider subscribing. I'll keep these videos coming as regular as possible. My name is Alex. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video soon.